Okay, I want to make another video, and I want it to be about watering. So we're going to talk about water propagation. We're going to talk about watering the plants and the few different ways that I water them. And then we'll talk about misting, I guess. So, for the first one, because this is my favorite part. Oops, my hair. So this is an African violet. I like that it's in a clear container because you can see the roots and stuff. That's not good classical music at all. You can see the roots grow, and you can also see when it soaks up the water. So in this thing I have dirty fish tank water. That's what I use to fertilize my plants because it's free. And my fish make it with their poop, so why not use it if it's free? So I'm just going to pour, oops, I'm spilling all over the floor. Dirty fish water on the floor. Okay, we just pour it in there into the little dish that it came with. This is called butt chugging your plants, or bottom watering, but I like to call it butt chugging because it's funny. But I like to do it this way. You can watch the water go down, and if your plants are really dry, it'll go down way faster, and I think it's really fun to watch it. But whenever I water from the bottom, a lot of people ask me how long I water them for. It's not a specific amount of time. It's just until I stick my finger in like this and I can feel wet. Like as soon as you feel wet right there, then I would take it out, let it drain really well in the sink, and then I put it back wherever it lives. So that's how you bottom water plants. Even my big plants I bottom water, so like this guy is going to get bottom watered. I either use, if it doesn't have a liner on its own, I use these plastic liners that I got from the nursery. They come in different sizes. They were free, so that's what I use. I also use those pie pans that I got from Walmart, but I'm using them to catch the yucky stuff from my fermented vegetables. So to tell if I need to water my plant or not, this one I just watered, so I know I don't need to, but like, I wanted to use an example. You just stick your finger in. That one's obviously really wet, so I wouldn't water it. If it like sticks to your finger, it's like the same rule as cake batter when you stick a fork in. If it like sticks to it a lot, that means you probably don't need to water it. This fern that Crystal gave me gets watered special, because she's special. I just do a cup of water over the top like every day or every other day instead of watering it all the way through, which I usually don't like to do, but they like for the soil to be wet on top. So that's how I make sure it stays wet on top without it getting overwatered. I just do like 1 cup of water instead of watering it thoroughly. I'm trying to think of a plant that I water from the top, but I really, this one I do sometimes. It's hard to see in the window. I don't know. This one I do just because it's a pain to take it out of the hanger, and it doesn't make the leaves on top sad for me to get them wet. So I just hang it up and water it until it starts to drip out of the bottom a good amount, and then let it dry and hang it back up. Plants that need to be misted. Everybody always asks me if they should mist their plant, and I'm like, well, it depends if it's a tropical plant or not, or like a plant that wants higher moisture. That's like the ideal thing. So this one wants higher moisture, so that's why we do the watering on the top, but I also mist it probably more often than I should because I'm scared that it's going to die. I missed that guy and my calatheas and the prayer plants. And you can also group them together to create higher humidity. So I keep all of the prayer plants and the calatheas together to help with that. You can also take a little tray like this and put rocks on top and then fill it with water just to the top of the rocks and set it on top of it like that. And then that'll create humidity too if you're too cheap to buy a humidifier. And then water propagation is just a fancy word for growing new plants. The key to water propagation is to make sure that you have a cutting with a node. And a node is just like the elbow piece that comes out in between the leaves. probably easier to see it on here. So like on this part, that's a node, that's a node, and you would cut on either side of those, but we can do that in a different video because that's kind of complicated. Yeah, you want to make sure that the roots, that the node is covered, but not so much of the leaf is covered. So I would even pour some of that out. Oops. Probably that much. Because there's even a little node up there too, so I want that to be underwater, but not the leaves, because the leaves will die if they stay underwater. I think that's it for water. So yeah, when you bottom water, the key is to just not leave it for too long. You don't want to leave it in there like all day, because then it's going to soak up too much water and have a hard time getting rid of all of it. But it's harder to overwater your plants if you bottom water, because the plant soaks up however much water it wants and not how much water you think it needs. Yeah, I think that's it. I don't use fancy water like distilled water or anything. I'll like put it in a container with the lid off. And if you leave it like that for 48 hours, it does something. It doesn't distill it, but it does something else to where it like gets rid of the chlorine or something. So I usually just do that if I'm not watering with fish tank water, but I do that a lot because it's free. I think that's it. That's about plant watering.